When people talk about daffodils going blind, what they mean is that the plant has grown lots of green foliage, but that the flower hasn't appeared. The daffodil has come up blind. This is really so disappointing when it happens. For me, those gorgeous, cheerful yellow blooms appearing at the tail end of winter is a surefire sign that spring is on its way. I so look forward to seeing them. They cheer me up, and having the leaves grow but not flower is just not right. Now there's different reasons why this can happen, but there's also lots of little tips that you can do to prevent it. The main cause of daffies going blind, in my opinion, is cutting back the daffodil foliage too early. This means that you prevent the plant from building up energy reserves for the next year through photosynthesis. Instead, try to leave the daffodils for at least 6 weeks after they flower, but ideally until the leaves start to go yellow. Knotting the leaves in order to tidy them up is also a no-no, even though it's a very popular thing to do. We don't knot the leaves because we want them to photosynthesize as much as possible. Knotting them means that the plant will struggle to build up the energy reserves that it needs in order to produce next year's flowers. Here in the UK, we plant our daffodils in autumn. This gives them time to establish good root growth before the flowers bloom at the beginning of spring. One thing you need to consider when first planting the daffodil bulbs out is the quality of your soil. Lack of nutrition in the soil will be a problem, as the plant obviously needs nutrients to grow. So plant them out in well-drained soil with lots of organic matter in a spot that's both sunny but one that also won't become too dry. Remember to mulch, as this helps the soil to retain moisture. Good drainage is important to daffies. They don't cope well with waterlogged soil, as this can cause the bulbs to rot. Choose high quality bulbs and don't plant bulbs that have got any sign of disease. When you're planting your bulbs, bear in mind that bulbs need to be planted deep enough so that they don't divide and end up growing small bulbs that won't flower well. You ideally want to plant your bulbs 2 or 3 times deeper than the size that they are. Don't overcrowd the bulbs when you're planting though, as this can lead to poor flowering. But if you've already overcrowded them, just lift them up when the leaves turn yellow and give them more room. Try and leave about 8 centimetres between the bulbs if you can. Periods of dryness or drought can impact upon the daffodil's ability to thrive. It can mean that the daffodil dies too soon and before the plant has the chance to store the energy reserves that it needs. If you have a particularly dry spell after the plant has flowered, water them well until they die down themselves naturally. You can feed the daffodils after they flower if you wish. This is especially helpful if you've grown your daffies in containers. Give them an organic liquid plant feed that's high in potassium. You can feed them with this once a fortnight until the daffodil plant naturally dies back. Pests that damage the bulbs, like Narcissus bulbfly and Narcissus eelworm, can impact upon flowering. The Narcissus bulbfly goes for the bottom of the daffodil bulb and feeds upon the developing bud. Daffodil viruses or Narcissus basal rot can cause real problems with the plant's health and its ability to flower. My advice is to remove those bulbs and don't put them in your compost bin. And finally, deadhead the flowers as they go over and turn brown. We do this so that the daffodils don't use up their energy in forming seeds. And there you have it, a whistle-stop tour of how to plant and take care of your daffodils so that they bloom and flourish. And while all the points I've gone through may sound like a lot to consider, the reality is that they are actually really super easy to grow and are very low maintenance. Once you've got them in the ground, in the right conditions, they reward you by coming back year after year. And there's really nothing more lovely than the sight of those cheerful yellow trumpets after a long, bleak winter.